This is Tim.
This is Amy.
And you're listening to the Pan A Pan podcast. Today, we're going to talk about local food. That will be a recurring theme on this podcast because while we love to travel, we're here more often than not. So it's, and being as we are foodies in this community, we want to make sure that we highlight food people in the area. And we'll get to that in a second. But first, what are we imbibing?
Well, in honor of the event that we'll talk about briefly, we just went to an event and we discovered a few new wines we liked. So I decided to kind of have Tim and I have a little taste test. Right here we have a Nobles Rives. It's a Syrah from Spain, apparently. And then the Albino Armani Pinot Grigio from Venezia. No, Venezia. I can't read. I guess it's from the Veneto region of Italy. So we're just gonna, it's just the white and red. Okay, so we had a Syrah at the event, and I'm not a big red wine person. I don't think you are either, right?
Yeah, I like it whenever I'm having red meat, which we were.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that.
Oh yeah, but for the most part, unless it's a very jammy red, and I'll explain what that is in a
minute. Please
do. Or if it's a sweet red. I love sweet wines. That's my favorite kind of wine overall. And one of these days, we're going to get a Gewürztraminer on this show.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you what I mean by why it's my favorite. It's not like overly sweet dessert winey, but it is. It's a bit tart.
No, I'm curious because you've mentioned it a few times now, and I'm like, I really want to try that.
I got to find one. I've got several people, friends of mine, who are wine people.
Ooh.
Including the person who was doing those calling out the wines while we were there.
Oh, I didn't know you. Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't either, truthfully, until I'm like, hey, wait, we are already friends. So, so I have 3 people, including her, that I can reach out to. I want to get the right one. I don't want something that's going to cost me, 2 months rent to get, but I want something that we can get in here, put it in the fridge and wow Amy with.
Thanks. Well, speaking of wines and wowing, have you been to Divine Llama Vineyard?
Where is it?
It is in north of here. I'm not exactly sure where and when. It's a trek from where I live, 30 minutes. Maybe.
Oh, so it's in East Bend.
Yeah.
Okay. I have not been.
It's so fun.
That I know of. But I have had their wines because I used to go to a lot of wine festivals.
Oh.
And especially North Carolina wine festivals. So they always have a good size
llama.
Booth. Their llama is large. Their llama is large.
What's funny is their hair. Their haircuts are also. I loved it. Yeah. That was best vineyard ever, just in my opinion.
So which are we trying first?
Let's do the Syrah.
Okay. So this is the red.
Oh,
y'all.
You taught me what I have to do. Okay.
You smell it first.
Smells lovely.
Yeah, and then you swirl it a little bit.
I mean, lovely's a strong word, but.
And then you.
Oh, it is different. You're right.
Yeah, it opens it up. So you sniff it, and then you swirl it, and then you sniff it again, and then you taste it.
That's not terrible. That's
the proper way. What happens
with the sound effect?
Yeah, so I was telling Amy at the event we were at,
because I am garbage.
No, you're not garbage. You are new to all this. I actually was in I was a guest judge for the North Carolina wine competition about 7 years ago, and I was amongst a lot of judges that get flown in. They're professional judges.
Oh, wow.
To get flown in to judge these things because it means a lot to the state, And I didn't know what I was doing. I was just sitting there, okay, well, I'm trying. He said, wait. So these are professional judges telling me how to do this. He says, first off, that's why I wasn't just Tim-splaining to you. I was trying to impart what they imparted on me. And that's you sniff it first, then do a little swirl, sniff it again, and it should open it up and you have a different aroma.
It actually, I thought maybe I was like, okay, whatever. But no, it actually does.
A different, what they call nose. When you smell it, wine, it's called a nose. And then you taste it. And you're supposed to kind of what they, you'll see people like they're kissing on something or whatever. And what they're doing is they're moving it around on their tongue because your taste buds on your tongue are in different spots for different things. So you're moving it around to make sure it gets to where it's supposed to be. And the that sound I was making, hold on.
I think there's like people with, it's like ASMR.
It could be, but what you're doing is drawing that with air because we can't taste unless we have air. That's why when your nose is stopped up,
oh yeah,
you can't taste anything. So you got to get it in there, and you've already put it in your nose because you smelled it. So this right here, you're actually putting it where it's supposed to go, and you're getting air to it. And they call it, I forget what they call the Kentucky Chew or something, that whenever they do it, and a lot of them are doing.
Okay.
Because you're getting it to where it's supposed to go. And it turns out that you're getting a truer taste of what the things are. Now, if people are telling you, well, it's going to have notes of this and notes of that, if you're like my wife, she's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Susceptible to what they say. So she's, oh yeah, I definitely taste that. But I find myself going, well, I don't taste that, but there's this. Like I mentioned, the Syrah we were having at this dinner had leather notes.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is the notes, the nose of it smells kind of like a horse's saddle or something, a leather jacket, something like that.
A horse's saddle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think of where all these wines come from. They're farms.
Okay,
and so, I mean, you have the wines are they gain parts of their flavor from what is in the soil. Not saying people are burying their horses.
That would be another issue
thing. But I mean, buried animals is not unheard of because, I mean, they decay and then they turn into fertilizer, basically. Just like poop does, and that's what a lot of them use for that. And, that's how soil gets over time. You don't want decayed animal right then, but over time, those animals are long gone.
Yeah. A couple episodes ago, you taught me about how water is not new.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there is no new water.
And I actually went home and thought about that a lot, and I Googled it, and you're right.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't just stupid and making shit up.
I was like, is he honestly sure? Is he sure? And I couldn't believe it. But then I'm like, no, he's right. He's right.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what's in water. You know it's 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, but you can't put them together to make water. You can't make it. It can't be made. I'm promising you.
Okay, but like groundwater.
Still, groundwater gets there because it soaks through the ground.
When you're at the beach and you're digging and digging and digging and digging and you finally hit water, that's like the child's version of like striking gold.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway. Let's try the white.
Are you a toes in the sand kind of person? Do you just like that, just the feel?
I mean, yeah, I'm good, like max on the beach for like 45 minutes. And then I'm like, all right, let's go do something else.
Yeah.
Because it's just, at some point it starts to not be comfortable out there. I don't know. Some people, my roommate can stay he can stay at the pool for like 3 hours straight. He can stay at the beach all day. He doesn't care because he likes to tan and everything like that.
Don't tan, you burn.
I don't tan. Yeah. And for some reason, like, I just don't like being hot. Like, I don't like sweating and.
I don't either.
No.
Now, if we're on the beach, I have to have an umbrella or a tent or something. I don't mind being there because usually the wind is enough to keep cool, but I cannot stand being in the sun. So when even like in January, February, when we're in the car, I will still roll my windows down a lot of the time because the sun gets in there and it heats it up. And she is all about, the seat warmers and let's turn the heat up to 75 in the car and all that stuff. And I am burning up. Even you've seen me, even in January, February, I'm in shorts and short sleeves.
That is true, yeah.
I hate being hot. I can sit and do a Sudoku puzzle and sweat, and I don't like it.
Like on the beach, you mean? Like
I'm talking in just sitting in here. That's why I have to keep changing the shades in my office because it's like a greenhouse in there.
Well, you know why that is.
Because I'm so hot.
Well, that, and you have so much intelligence that your brain is like overactive, so it overheats your entire body. And
so I'm overclocking my computer is what you're saying.
It's like when your laptop gets really hot. Yeah, that's what happens.
Well, I appreciate that, even though that is completely wrong.
It's not. You taught me more than I ever learned in like third grade science.
Okay. Well, again, I promise to keep Tim-splaining to you without being an a-hole about it.
You weren't. And, well, I had to ask about which fork to use because...
And I didn't know, so I asked to save you from having
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm like, I got you, girl.
I did not want to be a faux pas at this event. Should we try the white and then we'll get into the event?
Yes.
Okay. So it is the Albino Armani Pinot Grigio. This is more up my alley, I can tell.
Yeah. Well, make sure I don't swirl it on my computer because splashing would not be good.
Tastes a little bit more like pee after the swirl, or smells a little bit more like pee. I don't know what pee tastes like.
Well, it does actually. No, not taste like pee. I mean, it does smell like pee.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just the notes in there.
Instead of the horse's saddle, it's the horse's urine.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Actually, it's not bad.
I get some green apple, just a little bit. I get some
alcohol. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I get.
Yeah, I get a little bit of green apple. I get a little bit of like sunflowers. Not that you
How
taste it.
did you know that?
Well, because again, taste is 75% smell.
Sunflower.
So when you taste it, it's not necessarily what's on your tongue. It's what brings everything from your olfactory senses and everything. That's your nose.
Oh, I forgot to put on my perfume today. I never leave the house. And so when I do, it's an excuse to like wear my perfume. And I'm sad because I love the way it smells and I never get to wear it anywhere.
What kind of perfume is it?
I have it with me. I have it. You'll love it. I think I have it. If I don't, it's YSL Mon Paris.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
That's Yves Saint Laurent for those who don't know.
Intermission. Do I have it? Amy, I don't have it.
Oh,
Just kidding.
epic fail.
That stinks.
No, it's good.
I lied. We can cut this out.
No, I'm going to leave this in here.
I was
I
wrong.
like it. That's just the human aspect.
I was wrong.
We're not talking about anybody that we need to cut out.
We can.
We certainly can. And don't think when the camera's not rolling or the podcast is not recording, we just don't talk about people.
Yeah, no one's safe.
Yeah, no one is. Anyway, So this past, what was that, Thursday?
It was.
It was, by we, I mean Amy, my wife Stephanie, and I attended a wine dinner, which was part of the Elevated Supper Club from Elevated Catering. That's right. She showed the thing. I'm going to pull up here. Owned by the Elevated Catering is owned by Chef Brian DePaulis.
Who said he was Sicilian.
That's right. He is.
He had me at Sicilian. I'm like, I trust him.
Yep. DIPAULIS, DePaulis.
I think so.
Yep. And my son, Trey, is the equivalent of a sous chef. He's not been deemed that. He's not been given that title, but Brian says it's pretty much what he is. He's his main most guy, so it's what would be sous chef. But it was a 5-course meal, and each one was paired with a wine. There were 3 whites, 1 red, and 1 Prosecco.
Oh, love Prosecco.
And so we'll start with the first course, which was the burrata salad, which was an arugula spinach mix, roasted fennel, English cucumbers, or cucumbas, roasted sweet potatoes, marinated Vidalia onions, tangerine gastrique, cured egg yolk snow, and it was finished with a thyme sea salt. And it was paired with Oro de Castilla, which is from, I guess that's what it kind of is, a Ruda Verdejo. I don't know what that is. It sounds Spanish.
Yeah.
So, but it was a white. So the burrata salad. When I think of burrata, I think of mozzarella that pees all over everything, and that's not what
mozzarella
happened.
With a UTI.
Yeah, it does, and it did not have that, which is good. It was just without all the runny water stuff. But I like burrata. I like the flavor of it. I just don't like when it runs everywhere. This did not do that. No. The arugula spinach mix, I love arugula. It's very peppery with the spinach, which is earthy. The roasted fennel gave it a little licorice taste to it.
Barely.
Yeah. 'Cause I think when you roast it, it takes some of the not heat, but the power from it.
It was nothing like the absinthe.
No, it was not. No, it was not. English cucumbas. Yeah, just courgettes as they call them. Roasted sweet potatoes, and I'm not a sweet potato fan. I don't like sweet potatoes.
Loved the sweet potato.
They were very good. The marinated Vidalia onions, I had never, that I knew of, had one before. And before the event started, Brian said, "Hold out your hand," and I did, and he put one in my hand.
Oh, really?
And I ate it, and it was very good.
Does he know you love onions?
I think he knows, but I had never had something like that because it was pickled, right?
Yeah.
It was marinated, but it was basically pickled. And then the tangerine gastrique, which was really cool. But I think the star of this show was the cured egg yolk snow. So Brian took the egg yolks, cured them in salt, covered them in salt, cured them for, I think he said 6 days.
Wow.
And then he took them out, run them through a broiler or whatever just for a little bit to harden them up. And then he takes it and runs it over a garlic grater, and it creates that snow effect, just like if you do nutmeg or anything like that. It creates this snow. And there will be pictures of this. I have pictures. I just need to post them. It'll probably be on the Man Who Ate the Town website, but I can connect them to us.
Well, and I think there's photos on Elevated's Instagram page as well.
I'm
not sure. I mean, I guess it's just Elevated Catering.
Yeah, elevatedcatering.com.
But this was part of the Elevated Supper Club. We should probably,
Yeah, this was their first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was something that Brian said he's been dreaming of for 11 years. and finally got to have it. And we were there to experience it with him.
11 years. It went so smoothly that you would have thought it happened a lot, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it went well.
Yep. And the white wine that went with it, when I like to take a bite, then take a sip, take a bite, take a sip, take the bite first, see what the food's supposed to taste like. And then, or you can actually sip the wine while you're waiting on it to come because they bring it to you early. Then taste them separately and then taste them together to see what happens, what brings what out of the flavors. And a lot of times, like things with microgreens on it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. To me, a good crisp white wine will make those pop even more in your mouth.
You did say, I do remember you said, because we were like, what's a macro green?
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes, a macro green. So yeah, I thought this was a great starter. The thyme sea salt there. So this is a salad that didn't require a lot of dressing.
No, and I had never had just burrata by itself. I think I may have had it on a pizza before. And so I heard burrata salad and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be, but I ate the entire thing. Like it was very light, mild. It's mild. I don't like a stinky cheese. And this is not a stinky cheese. Like,
Oh, I love stinky cheese.
do you really?
Yeah. Blue cheese is my favorite. I will eat blue cheese by the handful.
Why do you enjoy stinky cheese?
I don't know. I just do. Stinkier the better. I've never had Limburger. So that's supposed to be like the ultimate stinky cheese.
Interesting.
But there are other things. But yeah, I Gorgonzola or Roquefort, especially, those really stinky blue cheeses, those are so good. Girl, I'm going to convert you.
I don't know. I can handle like a blue cheese crumble on a salad, but not the dressing. And I don't, just like cheese platters, I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, there was when we were at, I think it was Sage and Salt, there was a cheese that came out on their like cheese and meat platter. And the waiter came out and explained how this was like the best, mildest cheese he's ever had in his life. I can't remember the name of it, but it's there. Ask them.
Okay.
Anyway. But no, I really enjoyed I liked the sweet potato with the I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised, even though I was secretly doubtful because of my inexperience with burrata. But no, I'm converted to burrata.
Excellent. Excuse me.
It's the Syrah.
The second course was apricot toast, and that was with first it was Bobby Boy's spelt sourdough, and it had whipped agave lemon ricotta herb spread on the top, and then diced apricot pieces, pickled champagne onion, arugula pesto, toasted almond slices, which I don't remember that. I need to look at the pictures. But and then it was paired with a Domaine Eric Louis Sauvignon Blanc.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I loved the toast. And you picked it. He specified you pick it up, you don't cut it.
Right.
It was so good.
Yep. My only complaint, and I was talking to my son afterwards because my son did these.
Oh.
He said when we did them, because they did them a day ahead of time, but and that's how they usually do their sourdough stuff. But with spelt, I think it takes on a different texture when you do that, and they didn't realize it. So that's why it was a little chewy.
Yeah. I mean,
it should
barely,
have been,
yeah.
Yeah, it should have been more firm and just break apart. But still, the flavors were right there. I didn't care for the chewiness of the bread, but everything else made it all okay.
I really enjoyed that one. I'm a toast fan though, so, and I liked I love a sweet fruit with, savory. I love that. I'm always gonna love that.
Yeah. So the arugula pesto is the microgreens that we were talking about. Yeah, and I was telling Trey that the Sauvignon Blanc, when we had that, it was making the microgreens, the arugula pisto. It was just making it more bright in the flavor profile, and I love when a good white wine does that to green leafy things, whether it's regular arugula, spinach, things like that, or with the microgreens like this. It was really, really good.
Side note: if you're ordering seafood, what kind of white wine do you order? Sparkling or?
I don't drink a lot of sparkling wine. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't. It's usually Riesling, something like that. I like things on the sweeter side. Rieslings have a tendency to be a little sweeter.
Yeah.
Or if it's available, Gewürztraminer. But
how often do you find that around here?
Gewürztraminer?
Yeah.
At restaurants that have an eclectic wine list, they will have it.
Can you think of one off the top of your head that's around here that I could find one?
Probably 600 degrees. And probably
okay.
I would say Sage and Salt. Is it Salt and Sage? Sage and Salt. Salt and Sage.
Sage and Salt, I think.
Okay. Whichever one, the S and S.
If I didn't think about it, I would know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you could find it at like Springhouse or places like that.
Interesting. I still haven't been to 600 degrees.
And now it's under new ownership.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was Travis Myers and Ryan Oberly. I think Ryan's still part of it. But Chef Jeff Bacon from Providence and the executive chef bought it.
Okay.
So, yeah. I've not been there since they did that, but I'm friends with Chef Bacon. So, and it's cool that his name is Bacon.
Yeah. I was like, did his parents plan that?
And third course was the Leek Yukon Gold Parsnip Bisque. Garnished with chopped dill, chopped parsley, olive oil, cracked black pepper, yogurt, candied spiced papitas, and it was paired with an Ilatium Morini Suave. I don't know.
It was from the Veneto region of Italy, and I was like, you got me. Yeah. So, and it was actually, had I not even known that, I think it would have been my favorite tasting white. But I liked, it was a very spicy soup. I liked it. It had like a kick to it. It was very smooth. And the portion was good, I think, for like a midway through type of thing.
It was a good palate cleanser.
Yeah, that's exactly
it. So the chopped greens on top gave it a little earthiness because it was leek. So you're going to get that. And the Yukon Gold and parsnips too. All those are very earthy items, and then you have the chopped greens that make it a little bit brighter. The candied spice papitas were what I was tasting. I'm like, something here is kind of like barbecue flavoring.
Yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
And he said that's what the candied spice papitas were. I asked him about it afterwards. It was, I think the only knock that I heard on this was it could have been warmer.
Which probably was because I think people were a little slower to arrive, so it was just a delay thing. But otherwise, I mean, and it was still warm. It was
not cold.
No,
and I think it would have been okay cold.
Honestly, yeah. Doesn't Russia?
Yeah, they
borscht?
Borscht and gazpacho.
Oh yeah, I've never had that.
Yeah,
I've never had that.
So you have, and there's a couple of others that are cold. Melon soups. Have you ever had a melon soup?
No, but what is split pea cold?
I don't know. I've never had split pea.
Is borscht cold? And is borscht the word?
Borscht is a word. I don't know.
Shout out. Let us know if you know whether borscht is served warm or cold.
Yes, and on this show, we may say things that we don't know from Adam, and that's okay. We are here for entertainment purposes first and foremost, and if we say something stupid, then absolutely make sure that you let us know.
I would actually like to correct myself. on something I listened back to on our Italy episode, and I don't even know, I didn't look, but I just willy-nilly said that the Circumvesuviana train from Naples to Sorrento was the only train servicing that area. I don't know if that's a fact, but I do know if that's not the only one, there are very few trains servicing. So disclaimer, I don't always know what I'm talking about. That's what, yeah.
We neither one do, and that's okay. Again, we're here mainly for entertainment. If we teach you something, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm looking up borscht. It is an Eastern European, Northern Asian soup, and it originated in Ukraine.
Oh.
So it's still Russian in a way. It is main ingredients are beet sour or beetroots.
Gross. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't like beets myself, but tomatoes, vinegar, cabbage, and or potatoes, meat or sallow are allowed in there. And serving temperature, hot or cold.
Oh, okay.
So you were not off.
No.
You were right there.
But hard pass on that for now. I'm not a fan of beet broth.
Me either. Me either.
The big course.
Yeah. Soga, I don't know. What did he explain what soga was?
I don't. We were a few glasses of wine in at that
Oh, that's
point.
true. Yeah. So soga glazed short ribs topped with toasted barbecue peanut dust, chives, miso, glazed Brussels sprouts, and farro.
Oh, so good.
Now, I know that my son had his hands all over this. He did the farro, he did the Brussels sprouts, and I think he did the peanut dust. And he told me, he says, I made sure you got the biggest piece.
Oh.
Yeah. And that came with the, is it McPrice Myers Syrah Right Hand Man?
Yeah.
And that red was perfect with these short ribs. And I think these short ribs were damn near perfect.
It was just the glaze and everything. Like, it was so tasty. Like, I really, 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 really enjoyed that. And I had never had farro before. So I like quinoa and stuff like that too. So I love a good grain.
Yep. Farro.
It is a grain, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. You can get farro. Where around here was that? Oh, it's not doing that now, but for a while, Clementine's in Sir Winston was doing a couple of dishes with farro, and I had never heard of it, and I loved it, and now we keep farro at home.
Let my people go.
Yeah. So we now have it when we need it, and I like to cook with it. But the Brussels sprout, I'm not a big Brussels sprouts fan, but I do eat them.
Oh, I love them.
And those were done really well. Again, Trey had his hands on those. So that was my favorite, of course, because, I like meat. So I'm a carnivore first and foremost. Everything else comes afterwards.
No, it was amazing. I've thought about those short ribs like every day.
Yeah.
Since. I'm not kidding.
I wonder if we can get the recipe for those.
Maybe. Or we'll just have to go to another supper club. Maybe he'll make it again.
Yes.
But this was the one with the notes of leather and then the charcuterie notes as well. Yeah. And I'm like, what? Like, how did they put? But then you explained it meant like the smoked meats.
The smoked meats,
I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. So, and then, I was very full by this time, and I wish I had had more room in my stomach. I would have finished this whole piece, but I couldn't. I was so full. But the fifth course and the final course was the lemon sour cream pound cake, and he mentioned at that time that he was Sicilian. And you know how on like cannolis they have like the candied dried fruit on top?
Yeah.
He incorporated the diced orange candy pieces on top of that. It was with lemon simple syrup and 3 citrus mascarpone frosting. Or mascarpone, is that?
Either way.
In Italy, I think it's mascarpone.
And he called it mascarpone.
Okay, that's probably.
But that's, in Italy, they do call it mascarpone.
in my head, I'm always there. So
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was paired with a bread and butter prosecco, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yes.
You can never go wrong with lemon pound cake.
No,
ever.
no. And this was, I think he said it was his grandmother's recipe. It was, or at least inspired by his grandmother, because she always made stuff like that. And
Nona.
Nona, exactly. Lemon simple syrup drizzled over top, the 3 citrus. He said it was lemon, lime, and orange were the 3 citrus fruits in the mascarpone. And yeah, those, it was basically candied orange peel.
Yeah.
The rind. And, you know, a lot of people, if you eat the rind by itself, it's not very good usually. But when you dice it up and you run it through sugar for a couple of days and then heat that up and get that syrup part, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was, I wish I could eat more of that, but I was stuffed.
It was a fantastic thing. And we have to say that, you know, STEM did a great job of making sure that the place looked like a supper club. I mean, it's a wine bar, it's a drink bar, but it's upper class, but not uppity.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. And there was a good turnout too, honestly. There was a lot of people in there, and it went smoothly and quickly. And
I think they said 22 people, and 25 was sold out. So they were only 3 from being sold out. So it was a good night. And Kim and John Kane, who own STEM, they also own Second and Green. They did a fantastic job, and we will probably be doing some stuff with STEM in the future.
Yes.
Yeah. We were talking with them, and both parties got excited about some potential collaborations that we will do. So that was really good.
yeah, I'm really excited. We need to start just taking the podcast out
Yeah.
on a little date
We
around
should.
town.
That's right.
And just, you're the man who ate the town, but the podcast who ate the town.
That's right. That's what my hope is for what Tim and Amy do. I mean, Pan and Pan is going to keep going in his thing, but there's going to be more food things around here that we've discussed, and probably some things we haven't. We'll figure those out as we go along.
Maybe even a ropes course. Just kidding.
I've never done that.
Me neither. That's why we need to have a Tim and Amy do a ropes course.
With somebody else videotaping it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim's going to fall. But
It would be really fun though.
so if you are interested more in the Elevated Supper Club, because like I said, this is his first one, but he wants to do it. He wants to do it monthly. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it monthly to start off with, but I believe they will eventually get there. I believe it's elevatedcatering.com.
Yeah, www.elevatedcateringcompany.com on the back of this. That's the only reason I said that.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
the phone number is 919-500-2547. That is 919-500-2547.
Very good.
Thank you.
You did that good. I know you like to read the read. But in STEM, she said it was 626 STEM NC. Is that what she said?
We gotta do this right.
Yeah.
STEM. Not the STEM Center. That's
No,
not the
no.
NC STEM Center.
No, it's 626stem.com because it's at 626 West 4th Street.
And then on Facebook, it is facebook.com/STEM Bev Supply.
Yep.
And probably on Instagram, you just probably can just easily find it.
It's STEM_beverage_and_supply. It's just so it's STEM Beverage and Supply, just underscores for spaces.
Fair enough.
There you go. So, what did you think of these wines?
Obviously a bigger fan of the Pinot Grigio. However, I drank my little portion of the Syrah, and I would do it again.
Yeah, and we might.
What did you think?
I liked the Pinot Grigio, and I was not disappointed in the Syrah, but it's not my thing.
Right.
But I too would do it again because, as I've said, when people say, "What's your favorite kind of alcohol?" my answer is alcohol.
And that's all. That's pretty much the only notes I can taste in wine. So that is where we're at with that.
Anything else you have for this?
No.
Well, Pan A Pan is part of the Less Desirables Podcast Network, where you can listen to our podcast as well as the Less Desirables, Fan Interference, The Man Who Ate the Town, Beeswax Vinyl Daily, Wheeler's Dog, The Asylum Podcast, I Remember Now, The Queensryche Podcast, and Health Geeks Book Club. Excuse me. You can listen to our podcasts on our website or any podcatcher of your choice, like Apple, Spotify, or whatever. Basically, anywhere you find podcasts. And, of course, on the Less Desirables Network page, tldpodnetwork.com. Find out all you need to know about the TLD Network shows right there, tldpodnetwork.com. The video is on YouTube. Every Monday is a new episode. That's the day that the podcast release on the podcatchers as well. If you have something to say to us, you can email Tim or Amy at peppodcast.com. Look us up on our social channels, or if you want to be really cool, and I mean really cool, call and leave a voicemail at 336-422-6862. We will play your voicemail on the air.
Unless it's vulgar.
And then we'll play it twice.
That's funny.
So, my name's Tim.
I'm Amy.
And until next time.
Ciao. The views and opinions stated on this podcast are solely those of the contributors, so if you don't like it, that's too bad. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be used without the express written consent of such and such media.
We done told you.